So now in the third step of empathy, we're getting to where people normally think relationships start. But this is where we get right with others. And this concept of empathy is interesting. We hear the word a lot, but a lot of people don't really think about it very much. Empathy is when we not only recognize the feelings of others, but we seek to understand them and to get into their skin and feel the way they feel. And if we went about our relationships that way, where might that lead? If you're really trying to connect with someone else, could that lead to something wild and crazy like kindness or compassion or forgiveness or love or service? Yeah, it could. So thinking about this concept of empathy is very important. You may have heard of something called emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence means, are you aware of and you can manage yourself, and are you aware of and you can manage your relationships with other people? What you may not know is that if you compare emotional intelligence to cognitive intelligence, what normally people think of as IQ, and if you do research to say which is a better predictor of success in life and in business, the answer is emotional intelligence is a better predictor of success. The other thing that's interesting is cognitive intelligence is not one that we can change too much. Sure, we can learn more information, but our IQ sort of stays the same. Guess what? Emotional intelligence can be learned. So it's incredibly important and we can get better at it. That's pretty encouraging when you think about it. It's encouraging to me because I needed it desperately. Relationships and empathy and things like that have not been my strength, especially in my adult life. I came into my adult life, I think Bruce mentioned it, I was trained as an engineer. So when I had a conversation, my objective was to get from point A to point B as quickly and efficiently as possible. And if you weren't on that track and you were wandering about and sharing your feelings and talking about life, I would get impatient. So I could be abrupt and critical without even really thinking about it. I had all these blind spots in how I communicated. But over time, I learned, from the Bible and from recovery and from other disciplines, and I learned from my wife. She was better at it naturally than I was. I would see her having conversations with, a grocery clerk or a friend, and where she's actually paying attention to them and she's not getting impatient and making them the most important person in her life for a few minutes. And I said, wow, I've never thought about that. So I'm trying to get better. It's not a strength. I'm a work in progress. But I now try to go into conversations at least and say, I'm not here to impress or control the other person. And I don't need them to please or entertain me. I'm just going to have a good connection and see where that goes. And the Bible has some thoughts for us to think about. In Luke, it says, do to others as you would have them do to you. They call that the golden rule. So I guess that means it's pretty valuable. And if you look around the world, that golden rule is one of the most recognized and accepted life principles there is. Its wisdom transcends all religions. Obviously, it came from a Christian background. And it aligns with what we heard of before with the second greatest commandment, right? To love your neighbor as yourself. So it sounds like it's pretty important.